really hoping to get in like a quick 9 or 18 today. I'm so glad you were free. Thanks for coming along.
That's quite all right. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's not every day I get to cruise around, you know, with basically a living legend of the LPGA Tour. Do you feel like that when you're out here? I mean, you've been out here since '88.
Yeah, I've been out here a long time, but no, you don't think about, you try not to think about how long you've been out here. You're just trying to fit in with these youngsters. There's so many youngsters now. I'm old enough to be half of their grandmothers, so yeah, but it's just great fun to still be on the tour. I love this life, and I always have.
What have you seen change the most in all these years out here?
I think what I just said, the age group. I mean, so our best players are all sort of below 21 years old, or maybe 23 because they're getting a little bit older, some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Lydia Ko actually turned 21 the other day.
I know, and she felt like a veteran, like she'd been out here forever.
Incredible, yeah. So I think the youth in the game is massive now for the women's game, and just the athleticism. I think, you know, the players are stronger, hitting it further. Good athletes now, which I think is great.
Does that keep you motivated to keep out here? You want to keep up with these young ones?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know, you play with a few of them, they're half your size and a quarter your age, and they're banging it past you by 10, 20 yards, and you think, right, I need to lean on it again, get a bit more distance out here. But yeah, they keep you young. It's great fun.
What does motivate you all these years to keep working? What gets you up in the morning still?
Just to try and win again. I came really close a few weeks ago, and not prove to myself, because I know how well I've been playing, but scoring's not been good, and maybe just stopped a few people asking me when I'm going to retire by having that good week. So now I need to kick on and have another good week and back that one up.
Now that week you actually caught up with Brett Lasky, who does our podcast, and he had said, he's like, yeah, you know, I figured Laura would just kind of roll out of bed and whenever she'd show up, and he's like, she had like an 8 a.m. practice time. Do you always get out there so early to prep and get ready for the week?
Well, I do. The main reason for that is these youngsters, although they're young, they're very slow, and I don't want to be in behind them, so I try and get off early, play 9 holes, and get out of their way, and then they can take 2 hours per hole and do their practice like that. I like to get on with it, so yeah, that's my reason for early get-ups. I don't really like it.
Yeah, who does?
I want to get out there and get it done.
Now, when you were talking with Brett, he asked you if there was anything else that you would be doing if you weren't playing professional golf. You might be in prison. Where did that come from?
Well, it's just a standard joke, and I don't know what else I've ever been any good at apart from sport, and certainly golf was the game I chose, and I love playing other sports, watching sports, but I can't think of a job I would have enjoyed. So, you know, maybe burglary, something like that would have landed me in trouble at some point. So, but luckily golf's been really good to me, so I've stayed on the straight and narrow.
You're a big soccer fan. Well, we call soccer, but football for you too, right?
Yeah, I love watching Liverpool Football Club play, and England whenever they play international matches. Just generally love sport, but I think football, soccer, as you said, is probably my favourite. You know, and I used to play a little bit too.
Oh, awesome!
I started picking up a few injuries with the age, so don't play anymore. But played up until I was about 50.
Oh, nice. Now you received quite an honor few years back here from the Queen. You're now Dame Laura Davies. Tell us how this comes about. I mean, do you just get a call from the Queen? Like, how did this go down?
No, Lizzie doesn't just ring you up. It comes from the office from her office, and you're asked basically if you would accept it, because they don't offer it to you until you agree to accept it. Because obviously,
who would say no?
Well, some political people are royalists and stuff like that. So so they make sure that you want to be involved in stuff like that, and certainly within 2 seconds I had it back in the post, and I'd said thank you very much, I would love to. And lo and behold, what an honour, and incredible really, just for playing golf and having a good time.
So tell us, what was that whole experience like?
Well, it's a bit scary because you turn up at the palace, there's usually around about anywhere between 80 and 100 people being invested into various, you've got MBE, Member of the British Empire, CBE, OBE, and then the knighthoods, which is Sir, like Nick Faldo, Sir Nick Faldo, and then the women's equivalent's the Dame. So yeah, you turn up at the palace and they brief you on what you can't do, not what you can do. It's don't turn your back on the Queen, don't do this, don't do this. So by the time you go to get your honour, you're absolutely terrified. And I was duly terrified, but you know, it's one of those things that you don't really enjoy it while you're doing it, because you're scared of making mistakes, but then when you've got the medal hooked on you and you're chatting with all the other recipients, you just think, my God, that's something to remember.
Did you do everything right?
I actually did. The lady about 10 after me, she turned her back on the Queen and walked diagonally, didn't even stay on the red carpet. So there was one that completely blew it in panic. But everyone was laughing. The Queen was even laughing. So you know,
nice.
it is protocol, but she's such a lovely lady that she wouldn't worry about minutiae like that. That's all the people around her that have to worry about that.
Right. Did you get to talk to her at all?
Well, it's very brief, you know, because there's so many to do in any given day that they do them. Yeah, it's probably about between 30 seconds and a minute. You just sit and have a little chat, or stand, because you never sit. When the Queen's standing, you're standing.
That's so awesome. What a cool experience.
It really was, yeah.
Who calls you the Dame? Do most people?
Yeah, I was always Davo because of Davies, and they only had to change one letter, so I'm Damo now.
It was a natural fit.
It was natural, it had to happen. So yeah, but I've got a couple of friends called Damien, and they were Damo, so they always remind me that they were the original Damo. So.
Oh, that's so cool. Have you ever competed against the guys before?
Freddie Couples invited me to his 2-round tournament years ago in Seattle, and paired with Arnold Palmer, which is the scariest experience of my life.
Really? Yeah. Why?
Well, playing with Arnold Palmer for the first time, and I had to, you know, you have to shoot a number. It was a 36-hole stroke play event, and yeah, I didn't do particularly well, but Arnold was extremely nice to me. And yeah, so that's very nerve-wracking. You see, that's why I admire Annika so much, for the way she handled herself at Colonial, because you're out there really to be shot down and make a bit of a fool of yourself, and she handled the pressure a lot better than I did.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, that's a cool experience too, getting to play with Arnold Palmer. I mean, he had such an influence on the game, and you've had a huge influence on the game out here on the LPGA as well. And we didn't really make it to any golf, but I'm glad we got to cruise around. And here's a Smucker's Uncrustable for the road, Laura. So you get hungry later.
I'm hungry now. Thank you.